Hi, I'm Kelly Miller, president of Pine Needles, Mid Pines, and Southern Pines. I'm here with Kyle Franz, and exciting news is that we've opened Southern Pines Golf Club. So folks are out there playing, enjoying, and going to answer a few questions that have come in through the past couple months.
Welcome, gentlemen. Some of the most popular questions that we've received, we'll start getting straight to them. First question, did you approach this restoration differently than the other two courses? And if so, what are more of the significant features of this project?
Yeah, I would just say in terms of it being different, much like I charged Kyle with when we did Pine Needles after Mid Pines, I wanted to make sure that it was a little bit different than Mid Pines. So as Kyle explained to me, that there's different Ross areas, so I said the same thing as we wanted to move forward with Southern Pines, so Kyle can address more specifically the difference.
Correct, yeah. With Mid Pines and Pine Needles and other projects that we've done around the neighborhood, we tried to tackle a different period of Ross's work, whether it was the late 40s work, his mid 40s work, 30s. He was always evolving and changing. And the period that I've really wanted to work on, really since I started working here in the Pinehurst, Southern Pines area 10 years ago, I really wanted to hit his stuff that he was doing in the teens period of his work, which was a little more bold, a little more interesting and wild stuff. A little bit more in the way of bigger bunkers. Sometimes even a little bit blind they would build in those days, and had some I hate to use the words forced carry, but there was some jumps in the middle of the holes where you'd have an area of sandy wiregrass or some features in the middle. He was just a little bit more bold in his earlier work. So I'd noticed this when I was working on Pinehurst number 2 all those years ago for Core and Crenshaw, and noticed that during periods of the teens and 20s he had anywhere from 6 to sometimes even a dozen holes where you'd have these jumps in the middle of the fairway as opposed to the big sweeping no force carry sort of aspect of Southern courses. So those are really the things we kind of tackled. This being a golf course that he started doing his work during that period, it just felt like it really fit, just in the same way that bigger and cleaner and more manicured made more sense at Pine Needles, since it was the last of the golf courses.
Early on, a lot of speculation that Southern Pines might end up being better than Mid Pines and Pine Needles. Any thoughts on that speculation?
I guess to me it's kind of like I guess it's ice cream for children. There's a lot of different varieties, and you never love one child more than the others. But we understand that there'll be people that say, "Oh, this one's far superior to the other one," and that could be Southern Pines, it could be Mid Pines, it could be Pine Needles. So truthfully, I'm thrilled with them talking about any three of them.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the way that I've always looked at it is really they complement each other so well as three different amenities for the resort. You get a very authentic feeling Ross experience on Mid Pines of his 30s work again. Where Pine Needles is more the late 40s, a little more manicured and clean and resort feeling. You hit it right out of the gates with the cool English garden feel kind of around the first tees, and with Southern Pines, you're going to get a little more wild, woolly stuff out there where there's an occasional bunker you didn't see it coming along the way, like in the fairway, blind, or some of the carries, like the fifth hole, and again, you just get a little bit different looks all the way through. So I think, to me, it's about three really great separate amenities. It would be hard for me having to put my blood, sweat, and tears in all three of them. It would be hard for me to choose between the three at this point. I think that's probably the way that Donald felt about it when he finished the original construction.
Yeah, I think the thing that's really amazing about Southern Pines is just the topography over there. So there's tremendous vistas over there. Both Pine Needles and Mid Pines have a lot of elevation and rolling hills, but nothing compared to Southern Pines. So I think people, and we still got work to do in kind of poking some holes through so you can see vistas throughout the rest of the golf course.
Yeah, something like across from 8 to 11.
Right.
It's about as stunning as we can get anywhere on 3 properties. Pretty cool stuff. Great vistas.
In your opinion, is this course suitable for a future USGA championship, any one of their championships somewhere down the road?
Well, I think obviously we've been thrilled and privileged to have hosted championships from the USGA, and look forward to the Women's Open in 2022. I think time will tell. I think it's perfectly capable of hosting a number of championships. So the USGA and perhaps when they're coming and visiting and have an opportunity to see the changes. I don't think anybody from the USGA has actually been over there to see the golf course post change. So we'll have some time with them over the next year or so to be able to get some thoughts.
Yeah, I think it would be a really fun golf course if they ever decide to host any kind of cool tournament, USGA or anyone. The holes are really fun and cool from a viewing standpoint, and the topography sneakily sets it up very nicely. So many of the holes down the stretch, whether it's 17 or 13, 11, there's a lot of places that would be really fun to watch golf on hillsides where you get a lot of spectators and some really fun holes. I mean, there's no real better way to describe the 11th hole than pure fun. A hole where we really opened it up and made it drivable. I think that'd be pretty cool to watch in any kind of event, that's for sure.
During the construction process in a previous Q&A, we asked the question, which hole experienced the most change? And if I remember correctly, the consensus answer was hole 11. Now that people have had a chance to play the course, yourselves included, does that remain the same? Is it still hole 11, or is it a different hole that experienced the most change?
Kyle, any thoughts?
I think 11 is probably the big winner. You know, a lot of opening up of that space to where you can try and drive it up into the approach or to the green potentially, and a whole new green complex trying to emulate the great Ross style of the hole. It was a not quite as super narrow of a green target as the players have experienced the last 25 years with the LaFoy version. It's just a bigger target that really invites you from the tees, but it also is a fun little, fun approach where you can land a ball up to the left of the green and use the ground game to bounce the ball down onto the putting surface. But even though it's a pretty inviting target, as Ross intended from a scaling standpoint, it's not a huge green, but not a small one either. It's partitioned up into two different levels with a high hole location that's next to impossible to get on the proper level with for the back. It's really had a great shot. So, starting over completely scratch at the green complex, Evergreen underwent a huge change, but this one it was completely from the ground up. We dug out the entire putting surface by 1.5 feet and moved all the dirt around, moved it back slightly further towards the hazard on the right-hand side, as Ross had intended, and put back together those ground game elements where you can bounce it onto the green. So really a transformative change there, completely different.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think it's just having gone out there, I played it. I'm not capable of driving it, so I play a hole a little bit differently. But it allows for fun ground shots, which it didn't previously. So now it's kind of fun hitting the ground shots in, and then watching other folks play, and they're doing the same thing, but whether they play it on the ground or play it in the air. So a lot of variety and a spectacular vista overlooking the lake and seeing, the 8th hole and the 9th hole.
Another fun hole, the Lost Hole. Let's talk about that a little bit. And what's the best way for someone that's playing the course to incorporate the Lost Hole into their round of 18 if they want to play it?
Yeah, we're still learning a little bit as it relates to the Lost Hole ourselves. It was originally built by Ross to serve as a connector hole, so play 1 through 4, what I call the Lost Hole, and then 15 through 18. I think people might end up playing play 1 through 4, maybe hit a shot into the hit their shots on the Lost Hole, and then at the same time hit their tee ball on number 5, and then go up, putt out on the Lost Hole, and then go to their tee ball on number 5. So we're really kind of monitoring that and seeing how the people play it as it relates to that. And I'm sure during the as we start slowing down in the fall and the winter, I'm sure it'll get a lot of use as a 9-hole. Folks going out playing 4, Lost Hole coming in 15 through 18.
And in the sequence of the round, I think it's really great for people to give it a go. It's really the first test of one of those kind of ground game shots that we've been, that's one of the hallmarks of the design. Ross's great work out there is to bounce around, as we were talking about on number 11. It's the kind of hole where you can kind of skip it up with a low trajectory kind of shot on the right and take the front left bunker out of play if you so choose. There's kind of a bit of a I've been telling people this too much, but there is a bit of a sucker pin front left on the green. You should never go right at it. Always let it bounce in. And so you get a great ground game shot on number 5, but they're really kind of aerial shots on the outward going holes from there. So it's definitely worth a look. It warms you up for the shots you're going to see over the next few holes on 6, 5, and 8.
For someone wanting to play Southern Pines for the first time after the restoration, whether they're local or out of town, when would be the best time for them to play the course?
Fall is a fantastic time of year to come to the Sand Hills area. Spring is probably our busiest time, but just because of the dogwoods, azaleas, and then everybody just kind of from up north or the Midwest getting a jump on it, so we're busier then. But the fall's fantastic here. The Sand Hills is also blessed with good winter weather, so hopefully they can come and enjoy a nice crisp late fall or early winter round over at Southern Pines, and then then once late January, February hits, again depending on what Mother Nature hands out, it can be very warm and it'll be busy. So combination fall's nice, but I think folks will really enjoy it when they come this spring.
One thing about the fall time and how beautiful the golf courses are down here, that's something that we a lot of water under the bridge between you and I on that one since. But when we started, one of the things we really wanted to preserve out there was the great fall colors that Southern Pines has. It has a ton of great deciduous trees, much more than the other golf courses around here. In fact, I seem to remember Mike Kaiser even complimented us on that before we got started. We really worked around a lot of the deciduous trees on this project, so I think it's going to have a lot of the really beautiful. I always had in the back of my mind the vibe that Pine Valley has in the fall time, with the beautiful colors out there, the broom sedges and whatnot. So it can be a pretty cool time to play and have the camera along.
Yeah, speaking of that, Mike was here about a year ago, and he's actually coming next week, so he'll get a chance to see the before and after. So I look forward to seeing it.
When will you be overseeding the fairways this winter?
It'll probably be late October or November sometime. A lot of that's dictated by the weather. We also we're fortunate that it's been so warm, so we really are still encouraging the Bermuda grass to grow as much as possible. So it'll probably be a little bit later than normal, but we think it'll make for a great spring experience.
Pine Needles and Mid Pines have the Fin scooters. Will those be available at Southern Pines, and if so, when?
Should be shortly. We do plan on taking some scooters over there. Scooters have had a great response here at Pine Needles and Mid Pines, and I'm actually scheduled to play with legendary pro Bob Ford and Jack Druga over there in early November. So I know they'll be over there for a round of golf.
Are you satisfied with the end result of the restoration, and what's been some of the feedback you've been getting from some of the people that have been able to play it?
Kyle, start out now.
Sure. Yeah. I'm eminently happy with where we're at this point. We started with goal X, and we were just going to try and figure it out from there. And I think never beyond my wildest dreams, but I think we would be so far along with it. I figured maybe will be the thing when we first started talking seriously last summertime about phasing it over many years. So I think the golf course has come an extraordinary amount over the span of a year. Like, it's really cool and really fun to play out there, and I think we've done our usual diligence and the blood, sweat, and tears have paid off to get it to where it really feels like a genuine Ross experience. I think people will be able to go out there and feel like you're taking a trip back in time, and we still have things that we're working on. The guys are planting wiregrass out there still to this very moment out there, still working on cart paths and just all the usual bells and whistles that come along with a project. Punch list things like working on washouts and things like that you gotta kind of get a couple of taste testers to show you what you need to work on. But by and large, I think the golf course is really playing really fun, and it really looks nice out there. And I think the greens have really come along very rapidly over the last several weeks. I mean, what are we, only probably 11, 12 weeks away from planting, and I mean, with every trip that I make back here between our multiple projects around the country right now, I see a tremendous amount of thickening and growth and just solid health really taking root on the greens. I think they're going to go in the wintertime. Really solid condition of the plant, really good.
Yeah, I would kind of echo what Kyle said. The restoration work turned out, it exceeded my expectations, and hopefully it'll exceed everybody that comes there, their expectations. As I said, the vistas over there are fantastic, and always had great bones, and always had a great kind of following, and really just felt like it needed to be restored, and it deserved to be restored. And as I said to somebody else or another interview, I've been looking at this for a long time, in terms of getting involved at Southern Pines, whether that be a lease or purchase. But I think the man upstairs must have helped me out, because this was the appropriate time, and we had the appropriate team, obviously led by Kyle. Got Dave Frichte, Cody, who's done a great job, and the staff over there. So all the kind of stars aligned. I think it's a fantastic restoration, and then we'll always be working on it. Somebody said, "When are you going to be done with it?" And I said, "The truthful answer is never. We're always going to be doing something." As Kyle said, we didn't get to all the T's that we wanted with him, so we'll be doing that. There'll always be something else that's out there. As for instance, here with Pine Needles, we did the restoration work, and then again we did a bunch of work this year in prepping for the Women's Open in terms of narrowing some of the landing areas and pinching it here and adding a tee there. Some were back, some were forward. So there's always constant work to be doing on the golf course. It's kind of a living, breathing animal, and you just got to keep paying attention to it.
We can't get out of here without asking you about the Little Nine, a popular question. Any plans for the Little Nine? And not only just the Little Nine, but maybe the practice facility as well?
Yeah, and really, quite honestly, same answer. We have been so focused and kind of consumed with doing the restoration work on the main course, because that's really what needed to be done and we needed to do. So no real plans for the Little Nine as of yet. I imagine we'll be doing some work this winter on the clubhouse. There's some things that we need to do in the clubhouse for updating that. So in terms of priorities, it was obviously the golf course first, which also included the range. We've done some things on the range. Then move it into the clubhouse, and then we'll start out with some amenities. One of the amenities that we are adding, we're just about to get it up and running with Top Golf. We're doing the Top Tracer at Pine Needles, and we're also going to do Top Tracer at Southern Pines. So it's going to be kind of a fun experience. We're excited about it. It's the stuff that you see on TV with Top Tracer. As you watch the telecast, all of that will be available. You just download the app on your phone, whether that's an iPhone or an Android, and it picks up exactly where you are, and you just sit there and hit balls. And you might be disappointed to see some of the statistics on there, but it's really cool, state-of-the-art stuff. So we're excited about our partnership with Top Golf and Top Tracer.
What are the plans for the area where the old Elks Lodge used to be?
Big swimming pool. No, seriously, we've been talking it over, internally, partner Harash and the rest of the family, and we think what makes we really want Southern Pines to be a really fun golf experience, and really a fun overall experience as well. So what we plan on doing there with Kyle's help is we're going to put a pretty large size putting green. What would you guess that size is there?
Like 18,000.
18 to 20,000 square feet. Kind of a small, kind of Himalaya fun type golf putting course that will be fun for for the folks that go over there. It'll be fun for folks in the neighborhood, and kind of attached to that, we're actually looking at potentially doing some small accommodations over there, some small cottages right around in the clubhouse area that would make it fun for guys to come stay on site. So just kind of stay tuned with that. That may be, we may start something like that in 22, but we do plan to get going on the putting green there in 2022.
And I think it's going to be something that's going to be really fun. It's a perfect location for it. The big kind of velodrome, as we call it, where the old building was, creates a great opportunity to do some really cool kind of punch bowl putts and some interesting stuff with ridges and kind of whatnot. But it's also going to have a really fantastic view looking out over the golf course. And we never lost sight of the potential that we might want to do the putting course or maybe some accommodation up there. We tried so hard to get the view down to 17 green with the bunkers and around 1 green to look beautiful from everywhere, clubhouse everywhere, from the aside from just the obvious of the golf holes themselves. But we always had an eye to the sky on that one, that we might wind up with a really neat view down over the golf course. So they could have a really great just overall vibe of a great community gathering point to hit some putts and throw some bets out and have some fun out there.
Yeah, which is also why obviously we realized the arrival experience needed to be improved, but we didn't want to improve it, and yet we're going to go around and do something pretty significant shortly thereafter. So I would say stay tuned for 2022 for the putting green, and then more information as it relates to some accommodations.
Yeah, I think the golf course is going to be in a really, really fantastic position in 2022. We have a lot of areas that have just been newly seeded in native areas and whatnot, and those plants are going to start to come up. There's still seedlings right now, so the golf course is going to continue to evolve through the wintertime with the great work that we're doing, continue to grow in really beautifully, and it's already really a fun and great test out there. But I think by the springtime, the aesthetic is just going to continue to really, really ramp up and really be beautiful out there. One thing we've learned with all the projects that I've done in Ross's style here is that it's kind of a game of catch between us and Mother Nature. We take it as far as we can, trying to naturalize and make it look good, and then we step back and let Mother Nature do its thing, and it's going to throw some stuff back at us, and we just kind of keep playing catch with it. That's kind of the name of the game that Kelly was describing, that we just keep working on these golf courses to make them better and better, and part of that is Mother Nature helps us a little bit along the way as well.
All right. 2022, someone trying to make a tee time. When can they start making tee times for 2022, and what's the easiest and best way to do that?
Probably the easiest way is to go online. You can go to our website at southernpinesgolfclub.com. Or you can also pick it off at either Pine Needles Lodge or Mid Pines Inn, and do that. Obviously, you can always call, but we welcome you. We look forward to having you, and hope your experience is very enjoyable. The one thing I would say, the yardage over at Southern Pines is kind of sneaky. It plays a lot longer than what it is, so find the appropriate tee that'll make it fun for you, because that's one of the things that we wanted to do when we did the restoration, is we wanted to make sure that it was fun and also challenging.
All right, guys. Thank you both for your time.
Thanks. Look forward to having you. Come visit us. Thank you.